The views and opinions expressed of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
Okay.
And it is, wait a minute, live TV. Here we go.
It's always the same.
And it is a Friday, the end of the week.
And the beginning of the countdown to the great debate, the people's debate. And we've gotten a couple of questions in so far, and I'm looking for a lot more. Remember, viewers, you can send your questions to debate@scstonline.com. That's debate@scstonline.com. Our moderator this year is Rick Rebello. Get ready to rumble! Rick is a communications instructor, communications professor actually here at Bristol Community College, and he is also a video producer for the World Wrestling Entertainment System, the WWE.
Wow.
So he knows how to
So we can have a cage match after the after the debate, right?
and he knows how to handle miscreants and trouble during a situation. So we'll see how well that goes.
Well, we're looking forward to it as always.
As we always do.
It is the people's debate. The questions are submitted by the people, and you know, we're going to have Rick's going to select the questions, and I'm looking forward to another good debate. We try to change it up. Last year we had a WWE debate. Yeah.
This year we got the WWE producer,
and this year we got the producer. So we had Bill Rapley, who some people didn't enjoy the format. Some people did. I was one of the ones who did, because obviously I like the House of Commons. I like a little noise with it. So, but hey, it's coming, and don't miss it. I think it's going to be fun.
So our debate will be August 30th, Wednesday, 6 p.m. It's being held at the Morton Middle School. You can make sure you can get in by going to eventbrite.com and just registering, so that we have a count of about how many people are going to come. And then the following Wednesday, the first day of school here in Fall River, will be the Herald News debate, and I believe that's being held at the Cuss Middle School. So 2 weeks in a row, 2 debates in a row, and then the next thing you know, it's the primary. And it looks like we've got 5 candidates running for mayor. Those 5 being the current incumbent, Mayor Jazel F. Correa II, City Council Vice President Linda Pereira, City Councilor Richard Cabaceres, Ron Cabral, the perpetual candidate, and Jordan James Sylvia. So those are the 5 that will be at the debate, I'm hoping. We have received confirmation from at least 1 candidate to date. And here's all I can say to the candidates is, if you have something that you think is more important than meeting with your constituents and telling them what your platform is and where you stand, then I think that you don't deserve a vote for office, because your constituents should always come first. Again, that's my opinion, but hey, what can I say?
Well, I mean, and that's the key. The key is that, do you want to articulate your position as to why you should be mayor, remain mayor, become the new mayor, or whatever, depending on who you are. But, this is a forum that's a public forum, and, people should have the opportunity to do more than read a prepared campaign canned speech or something. They should see how you operate in a live environment where you have to respond without the ability to take a week to proofread everything. So But hey, then again, you know, politicians are politicians. Some of
And
them,
who are we?
Hopefully, some of them want to do nothing but run ads and make promises. So
That's
let's.
it. And we're up to 2 confirmations now of attending the debate. So
As we spoke, we got another one.
As we spoke, we received another confirmation. So, hey, we're just about at the halfway mark where half the candidates are showing up. So, I would get your holsters ready, because I think there's going to be a gunfight at the OK Corral or at the Morton Middle School, one or the other.
Yeah, hopefully the swelling will be down. By the,
Oh, don't worry about it. We go for the chipmunk look.
That's right. I'm only a half a chipmunk, though. That's why. So, no, it's going to be fun. Campaign season always is. But that's the thing. We always talk on this show about educating yourself, and what better way to educate yourself about the candidates than actually listen to them to respond to questions from you, the people.
Right.
Not the questions from the media. Not the questions, from friends, questions from the general public. And that's the great thing about what I feel about our debate, is that we do not write one question. We do not pose one question. All the questions that are used in a debate come in from listeners and viewers. So, to me, that's the best way you can really, and then you can research it, because if you've got time, you see the debate, you listen to the answers, you go look at their platforms, and then you check their actions and their histories, and this is the way to make a logical vote. Don't vote for a marketing strategy. Vote for a candidate that will actually has articulated a position. So.
You mean chow mein sandwiches don't get the vote?
Well, unfortunately, that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons that we're in the situation we're in, because chow mein sandwiches and ham and bean dinners and stuff always, unfortunately, get people elected. I remember the election between Mr. Jacome and Mayor Lambert. And that was a very close election for an incumbent with that kind of money. He spent almost $400,000. He spent almost $500,000 running for mayor in that election. And he gave a 7-course meal the night before and bussed all the senior citizens up to the Venus. And then he had a breakfast the next day and bussed them all back again, another 1,200 or so. And he won by 900 votes. There were other issues there. But, I mean, look, the thing is that, when you just had a 7-course dinner and a nice buffet breakfast.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes people vote with their stomach, I guess. So, but we have to really try to, we complain about what's going on all the time, but the only way to change it is to put people in there who are going to listen to us. Again, we have situations where we see it on all levels, but this realistically is the level we can truly change things, because it doesn't take a lot of votes to get somebody in. If you're talking an election for president, okay, but I mean the frustration that we see throughout the country about politicians not doing what we want them to do, it can be easily changed. All you have to do is make it really simple and clear to anybody who runs for office. You listen to the people, you represent the people, you advocate for the people, or you only have one term.
Yeah, I think Tip O'Neill said it best.
Yeah.
All politics is local politics.
True. And this is where it all begins.
That's right.
This is where it all begins.
And if you have an electorate which cannot put people into office which are going to do what is right by the people, remember the part of the first, Article 5. Okay, they're supposed to be answerable to you. But it seems that for some reason in Fall River that has lost its way. People have failed to recognize it and have failed to subscribe to it. And that's the problem. All politics is local politics. So if you want to make a tremendous change in your local government, make sure you vote accordingly. And don't forget, they've already made it clear that you don't matter at the State House because the governor wanted a tax holiday for you, and guess what? The state representatives, and it's the state representatives, it is not, the Senate didn't even get it yet. It's the state representatives said, we're going to go on recess. We're not going to take up this matter until we come back in September.
And they also said we have no interest in going back.
That's right.
So they have no interest in the people's benefit.
That's right.
But, you know, that's one of the problems because, you know, we talk to a lot of people, and some of them, and it really disturbs me, and some of them really, when they say, well, you know, there's nothing we can really do. You know, why bother? Well, that's the attitude that gets us where we are. You know, we remember years ago when we got huge turnouts to elections. I think the first Carlton Viveris election when he ran against Marilyn Roderick, I think we had like almost 38,000 people vote in that election. And look at what we have today. You know, we have extremely low percentages. People don't participate. And they use the excuse, there's nothing we can do. And you're 100% right. If you don't get off your butt and vote, you're right, there's nothing we can do. Because then all the political hacks and all their cronies will get them in office because they comprise the majority of people who go to the polls. They go to the polls because they have an interest. Well, if you have an interest in making government responsive to your needs, you have to get out and vote. That is an excuse. It's not a reason. There's nothing we can do. Believe me, nobody, including us, as much as you accuse us of complaining about everything, I will guarantee you I will not complain if we get 100% turnout in this election. Because if we get 100% turnout, the people have spoken.
And that's the key. You know, even if we get 72%, okay, like in the Carlton Viveris days.
Yep.
All right, the people are speaking.
Yep.
But when you get 16,000 people come out and vote, which is like not even a third.
Yep.
It's 18%, 20%. That's piss poor.
Yeah. Well, it's not the majority. At least
it's
when
not.
72% vote, more than 50% voted. So you at least got what the majority opinion was. But as you said, when we get 18% and 16%, and I think there was one a while back that may have been a primary, but that was like 12%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absurd. I mean, that's, like it's a third. It's not even a quarter. So that's the irony of the whole thing. And it's normally the people who don't vote that complain the most.
Exactly. Or the people who said, I was going to get there,
Yeah.
but my laundry had to get done,
Yeah, I forgot I had to put clothes in the dryer.
Exactly.
Even though the polls were open for 12 hours, I guess you had a lot of clothes to dry, 12 hours worth of clothes. But
and it's very interesting because it's so simple to vote. If you're not going to be present, if you're not going to be present in the city, if you're not going to be present in the state, and you can't vote, get an absentee ballot. You have plenty of time to get one. And I mean, as a matter of fact, when I called Government Center to find out if we were having a primary for school committee, and they said yes, they said, are you going to get an absentee ballot this year, CJ? You had one last year and you had one the year before. I said, I'm going to try to get to that poll this year. But they check, and they're checking on people. So it's not like it's not easy to vote. You make it difficult, people. You're the ones that are making it difficult to vote. Because if the system is set up so that they make every effort available. Do you know that people overseas can vote electronically? And last year, in the election, many people voted electronically because they were overseas. Our military personnel, people who are on duty, either in military or private sector, and they could not get their ballots back here, there's a way to do it electronically. So it's not that they haven't made it easy for you to vote. You're the ones choosing to make it hard.
absolutely.
And that's the sad part about it, because, we fought for that right. And we may be fighting to keep that right very soon, the way things are going between North Korea and the United States. And I hope that it doesn't come to that. But, you know, I just got a message in regards to a comment made by President Trump today. He goes, the United States is locked and loaded. Those aren't weak words. Those are strong words. So remember, people, exercise your right to vote so that you can make the change you want in your government and in your rights.
Yeah, he's got, yeah, I just got the same message on my phone. But look, it is, you know, we are, you know, we do control our own destiny in this nation if we vote. If we don't vote, well, guess what? You know, the minority wins, and you can't complain. So I guess we're going to move into this Fall River economic development leadership is in limbo. Now this is we're in limbo. Well,
we are.
You know, we've been in limbo for a very long time because it talks about the mayor's office and Froward are trying to figure out how to sell the city. Well, okay. Already the first line, I want to put this in the shredder because what are we selling here? What are we selling? We selling the street that we're selling a city that's got streets that look like Fallujah, got one of the largest drug problems in the state, one of the highest crime rates in the country. You know, why don't we, rather than try to bring places that are going to bring more people into this community, you know, to contribute to it, and call it market rate housing, because they talk about the King Philip Mill here. What's the King Philip Mill going to do? The people who are investing in the King Philip Mill are not from Fall River. It's not going to employ a lot of people because it's going to be housing for the most part. So what do we gain by this? Not much. Not much. Why don't we develop our economy by putting our people back to work, training people to get jobs? Why don't we do things that will enhance the community for the people who live in it? Not for investors who come in here to take our money back to Brooklyn. You know, it doesn't make any sense. Years ago, Fall River did have an economy. We had a whole bunch of small businesses. We had a whole bunch of restaurants. And they were all, look, it wasn't New York City. It's not Boston. It wasn't Newton. But you had 8 restaurants between Stafford Square and Bogle Hill. You had stores, men's shops, women's clothing stores, all of which stayed in business because we had people who worked. Granted, they didn't have the greatest jobs in the world, but they had a paycheck every week. And they went out and spent that paycheck. And it made Fall River a better place, because that's where our economy lies. This doesn't develop Fall River's economy. This doesn't help the average taxpayer in Fall River. The economic development strategy has been crap for the last 15 years because they keep saying that businesses like Amazon are going to save the city. Well, we got about 39 people working at Amazon, and the reality is that these jobs, many of these jobs, are transient. There's 6 million jobs in the United States. It was on the national news. Unfilled. Why? Because they take a degree of training. So, I mean, I've said it time and time and time again. They do it in Germany. They've been doing it in Germany for 50 years. Why don't we have apprenticeship programs? Why don't we have programs to educate give our people skills? They did it in Rhode Island. They taught a whole bunch of people to weld. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is a skill. And then they got them all jobs at Electric Boat and other places that require welding. That obviously helped their economy. These people now are getting a paycheck, and they've got a skill, a marketable skill. It's not a lower level job which is going to be replaced by a robot or somebody in a third world country. That's the reason we have the unemployment we have in Fall River. People cannot find jobs in areas where you're the last person hired and the first person fired. These jobs that require no skill, that they can hire anybody off the street. They're going to third world countries, or they're being automated now. Well, Amazon is going to end up in another 10 years automated. That's another national statistic that was on the national news. 47% of these types of jobs will be robotic within the next 20 years.
Well, and Amazon bought a robotics company to handle that.
That's right.
And the robotics company is based here in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Now, while they say the Fall River warehouse is not going to be robotic, if you look around, you can see it would be very easily converted into robotic functions. And this is the problem, because I don't know how many people have seen the ads, for jobs in Fall River for Amazon. Amazon.com/Fall River jobs. They got ads on every TV station, radio station, newspaper ads. They got it everywhere. They can't find help from Fall River. The majority of their help that they're hiring is coming from outside of Fall River. And somebody at Amazon said to me, when I asked them about what was the numbers from Fall River, actual Fall River people, they said, I don't think the people of Fall River want to work because you have such a high unemployment rate, but nobody applies. And those that do apply are applying only because they have to, because we have to fill out their DACA forms or TDA forms or whatever the heck they call them for welfare and food stamps and everything, showing that they're looking for work. And they're filling out their unemployment forms. Employers aren't looking for you to come in and say, hi, how are you? Yeah, it's nice to meet you. I'd love to have the job. Oh, by the way, you want to fill out my forms for welfare?
Well, that's the issue. And we're bringing more of those people in with the kind of housing that we offer.
Exactly.
We fill our low-income housing. We have billboards to bring in people, and you're right. But you know something? If that's what we are, number one, we have to stop that too. But the second thing is bring in people, try to bring in this to community people who will work. Like I said, if this community began to train people, and then other people could come in and say, look, you go to Fall River, they'll train you for a job.
Exactly.
They'll find you a job. They'll find you a job. And then we've obviously, if the unemployment rate is, you look at people, and then somebody can say, look, our unemployment rate is not reflective of our community. All the people who really want to work are working, and these other people, we've got to get them out of here. And that's the reality. The reality is nobody wants to talk about that, but this economic development baloney in limbo, it should stay in limbo, because this is not the way to develop Fall River's economy to benefit its people. Well, yeah, it develops its economy for the big money people, but it doesn't develop our economy that would produce anything positive for the everyday person and the taxpayer in the city of Fall River.
I agree.
It doesn't make our quality of life any better. Kind of like, remember everybody got upset when we got categorized as one of the worst cities?
Yep.
Kind of like Miami. Classic example. Miami's got tremendous economic development in their tourism industry. Does it help the quality of life for Miami residents?
No.
Absolutely not. It was the #1 worst place in the United States to live, not to visit. Phenomenal place to visit. Just ask the mayor. He just spent a little time down at the Fontainebleau. I mean, Miami's a fantastic place to visit.
Exactly.
I've got relatives that live right outside of Miami and work in Miami. The fact is that Miami's a fantastic place to visit. Not a good place to live.
But the same thing was held true about Orlando. I used to go back and forth to Orlando regularly, 2, 3, 4 times a year. I drive down there. I had a home down there. I worked down there part-time at the local hospitals, and I had a good time. But I'll tell you something. It's not Disney World. Disney World is Disney World. Universal is Universal. But downtown Orlando, you've got shootings. You've got stabbings. it's a very touristy community, but outside of those touristy areas, guess what? You got crime, and the quality of life is not much better than what you have here, and people don't understand that.
And have plenty of jobs, but they're low wage.
Very low wage.
Very low wage
As
jobs.
a matter of
People
fact,
go, they're right to work states, no unions, they pay peanuts.
And WHSH, Channel 2 in Florida, does a story every year on the number of Walt Disney employees on food stamps. That's how low the wages are. They're working full-time, and they're still qualifying for food stamps.
Well, that's what happens in those states because they have, they have extremely low wages. But again, there's a classic example of how this political propaganda, this con, they all stand there and say, we're developing our economy, which will help the city. This kind of economic development doesn't help anybody, any cities. This is the reason that inner cities, larger inner cities, are in the condition they're in. It's because the people who are there that are unskilled, look, I hate to tell you this, we virtually eliminated our middle class.
Yeah, we don't have a middle class anymore.
We have no lower class. Years ago, Fall River was a place where people with no skill could come in. They could work in a mill. They could carry bundles and they could do things. Those are gone. Yeah. I mean, they're going to get somebody to operate a sewing machine in Bangladesh for like 3 cents a day. They make $2 a week or $3 a week. So what do you expect? We have people with no skills. The entire economy of the United States is in the toilet because majority. Now, what did they just say? I just saw a thing saying it's going to cost. The President Trump said he's going to limit even legal immigration.
Right.
And they said that's going to cost over 400 million jobs over the long run. Why? They'll say, what do you mean? Exactly what you said, CJ. People in the United States don't want those jobs.
No, they don't.
They're not going to go pick grapes. They're not going to go do landscaping. Those are the jobs that are taken by the immigrants.
Yep.
And they have all 5 people working, and they put their paycheck in a pot, and then they succeed. The thing is that's the problem in the United States. The only way this country has to educate itself because the only jobs that will be available forever in the United States that aren't taken by robots or third world countries will be jobs that require some skill, that you have to be able to be educated enough to be trained to do something, and then you have a marketable skill. And that's what's not being done in Fall River or anywhere, and virtually anywhere else in this country.
That's normal. and then again, when you got Cathy Ann now handling economic development, we're in trouble.
Yeah, well, that we'll get a different story every week anyway. It'll be interesting.
Exactly. Hey, the Consumer Price Index went up 0.1% in July. Food, shelter, medical care indexes all rise. All urban consumers increased 0.1%, seasonally adjusted, raising 1.7% over the last 12 months, not seasonally adjusted. So again, inflation, it's coming in droves.
That's right.
And the last insult to the taxpayer of Massachusetts. Suffolk Downs gets $800,000 in connection with a 2-day race schedule. They put $800,000 towards the purses for 2 days worth of races. Your tax dollars at their best. That's where I want to see my tax money go, right to the races.
Paying the big money people that own all the races. That's it. But that's what it does. Just remember one thing. The cry for this weekend is to hell with the sales tax holiday. And nobody cares about you.
And to hell with you, the taxpayer.
That's right.
That's right.
Nobody cares about you.
Hey, have a great weekend, everybody. Remember, stay angry. We'll see you on Monday.